Hello, Slicey Dicers. This is Brian with another knife review for you, and today we have this pretty unique little knife. Well, an upgrade to a previously pretty unique little knife. This is the new for 2021 iteration of the CRKT CEO. This is the Flipper. The previous CRKT CEO had a thumb stud deployment, which is a little bit hard to deploy, honestly, and it was only a tip down carry. This one is properly tip up, and now it has a wee little flipper on it, so a little bit easier to open without tearing your thumbs up, and yeah, in the carry configuration that a vast majority of us prefer. So pretty cool. Still very inexpensive, $39.99. Still pretty much the same specs. It's got FRN handles, but are very nicely done, though. I will say, I sometimes complain about FRN. If all FRN was like this, I wouldn't complain about it as much. This is really nice FRN. They do a really good job on it. Blade steel is AUS 8. I do know a couple of sites listed as 8CR13. It is not. It's AUS 8. Is that big a difference? No, it's not that much of a difference at all. But just specifying that before someone goes, it's not AUS 8. It says AUS 8 on the CRKT site. They said AUS 8 in a couple of like product review interview things. So it's AUS 8. Not the most screaming awesome steel in the world, but I think especially for this application, we'll talk more about it when we get to the blade. I think it's perfectly fine for this price point and this kind of application. But as you can see, it is designed to be very discreet, hence the name, CEO. It's designed for, in a shirt pocket, very discreetly carried in dress pants pocket, something like that. When it's in the pocket, you'll see when we do the, put it in Levi's, which this is probably going to be a knife that's rarely in jeans, but still, you'll see that you can't tell. You can't even tell that it's a knife at all. So, pretty cool. It is a Richard Rodgers design, by the way, if I didn't specify that. Yeah, very lightweight. Just a pretty cool, unique knife, but let's talk more about it. Let's do some specs and some size comparisons before we go too much farther. You have a blade length of 3.1 inches, overall length of 7.54 inches, blade thickness of 0.09 inches, so pretty thin, obviously. Doesn't need to be a big, robust blade on something like this. Handle thickness of 0.47 inches, and a weight, according to my scales, of 1.94 ounces, so just a little less than 2 ounces. So it is very, very light. Size comparisons. We'll bring out our usuals. It's kind of hard to find stuff that's a really good size comparison to this because it is just such a kind of, unique knife. We have your Spyderco Manix2 lightweight and the pair 3. So yeah, it's just it's a skinny little thing. It's very long, but it's very slender, like my finger. We'll go with that. Next up, this is one that is kind of size-wise a little bit more similar, I guess. You have your Benchmade 940, which only this knife could make a 940 look beefy, and the full-size bug out. So, this knife overall, what I think of the blade, like I said, I think this steel is fine for a knife like this. Yes, in the $40 range, you do kind of expect D2 or something like that now, which has better edge retention, all that stuff. But this is a knife that's not going to get used a whole lot, let's be honest. I'd rather have the stainless qualities of AUS 8. It's not going to get used a lot to the point where it's, you're going to be worrying about edge retention. And when this does wear down, AUS 8 is super easy to sharpen, much easier to sharpen than D2. And a lot of guys who are going to buy this, if they buy it for the intended purpose, they're probably not super hardcore knife guys. They're not going to have the most advanced sharpening system in the world. It's very easy to get a really good edge on AUS 8. I have no problems at all with the blade steel choice on this for $39.99. Not a bit. It is a little thick behind the edge for what it is, 24 thousandths, but I kind of almost forgive that as well, just because it's such a short blade, in this dimension, that making it thinner behind the edge, you're gonna have a really high bevel on there, and I just think it's, you might chip it, something like that. I don't know. It's fine. Again, this is gonna be used to like cut off string, open packages, stuff like that. It's not gonna be used to process cardboard or anything like that. I don't really have that big a deal with it. I think for the purpose, this blade is fine. Does it look kind of like a glorified letter opener? Yes, it does. Is what it's probably going to be used most for? Yeah, it probably is. So that's completely fine. No problems with the blade there. Ergonomics, I mean, this thing is meant, to look like a pen, and it's just going to be that. The ergonomics aren't going to be outstanding. It's not uncomfortable by any stretch of the imagination. It just feels like it looks. It feels very slender, but there are no hot spots, anything like that. I think for this simple kind of shape and design for what they were going for, the ergos are as good as they could be. I think they did a really good job on that. No real complaints there. Yeah, there's no jimping or anything. Who cares? Again, not what this thing is made for. But yeah, not bad. How does it carry? I mean, it carries awesome. It's this thin. Has the deep carry clip. I'm bringing out the old Levi's just mostly for amusement purposes, because yeah, of course, it completely disappears. A more prepared man would have had a shirt with a shirt pocket to show you that, but yeah, it pretty much disappears. We'll simulate that with a Hank here. So, but yeah, disappears in the pocket. Does have that little flipper tab, but knife's so thin, you're not going to notice it. It's completely fine. I will bring out, here, we'll bring out my, I think this is a Shadowborn. Yeah, Shadowborn Hank Star Wars thing. Not the typical print for a dress shirt. Unless you're awesome, then it might have that. But yeah, it's just, if it's in your, imagine this is your little shirt pocket. Kind of do that. Looks like a pen. Completely anonymous. Really awesome. And it is right hand, left hand, by the way. You can reverse that, which is pretty cool. As far as the deployment goes, I will say this one is now perfect as far as the detent goes. When I got it, the detent was a little stiff, not obnoxiously so, but just a little bit stiff. And I heard some other people in comments saying they got theirs and they were also kind of stiff. I took it apart like I always do, and lubed it and all that, almost always do. And I did adjust the detent a little bit, which means I just bent the lock bar back to release the tension just a tiny amount. It really was not a huge adjustment. It was just a little bit, probably something that would have broken in eventually, but I'm an impatient little child, so I just did it myself. It does run on ball bearings. They are caged, and yeah, very drop shutty. I mean, you have to, obviously, with physics, it's not going to drop shut by the weight of the blade, but one little wrist flick and a drop shut. It is super smooth. It is super satisfying. It is infinitely more fun to fidget with than the previous thumb stud version. And I think that's important because I think, like I said, a lot of these are going to be bought by guys who aren't knife guys, but some of them are going to be bought by executives who are knife guys. And, you may want something to fiddle with at work while you're, taking a 15-minute potty break because you just can't stand listening to Karen and HR anymore. And it'll be fun to have something to fiddle with other than, playing Raid Shadow Legends. Do people actually play that? I see a lot of read-in ads for it on videos, but I don't know anyone who actually plays Raid Shadow Legends. I don't know. If you play it, comment down below. But yeah, they offered me a thing and I said no because it looks dumb. So I'm blowing my money here, just saying I don't want. Raid, stop emailing me. I don't want to do your videos. I got way off on a tangent there. This knife is more fun than Raid Shadow Legends while you're sitting on the toilet. I'm going to say that. So there's that. I hope that CRKT uses that in their advertising. You have my permission. You can quote me. Slicey Dicey says, the CRKT CEO is more fun than Raid Shadow Legends. There you go. I never played Raid Shadow Legends. Maybe the best thing ever. But anyway, what are my conclusions after that long rambling Raid Shadow Legends reference? $40, I think. It's a very unique knife for a very unique purpose. I think it excels at that unique purpose, though. I really do like it. I would not even mind seeing some slightly more premium versions. If they did like a carbon fiber handle, I don't really care if they upgrade the steel or not on something like this. It would be nice, I guess, just for man brain to know that you have S35 or something on there, but it's not really needed on a knife like this. But at least it doesn't say 8CR. Its AUS-8 is not dramatically better than 8CR, but it does sound a bit better than saying 8CR. So I don't know. I think the AUS-8 steel choice was a pretty good one. But anyway, yeah, if they made a slightly more gussied up version of it, I would go for that. I think that'd be kind of cool. And the one issue I have with it, I do have to say, is the 3.1 inch blade length. If you're making this knife to be completely, basically invisible to office Karens, then why is it not 2.9 inches? Make it below that legal limit as well. I think that would be a good shot to do. I don't know why it's 3.1. It just doesn't make much sense to me. But other than that one thing, I don't have that big an issue with this knife at all. I just think I like it much better than the thumb stud one. The thumb stud one was a little uncomfortable to open, and it wasn't something you want to sit and fidget with. It dropped shut and was just as smooth as this, but now it's easier to fire, all that stuff. Yeah, the detent was a bit off, but again, I think that would have broken in. So, and it's CRKT, there's going to be some inconsistencies, so maybe they're not all like that, who knows. But anyway, for 40 bucks and its intended purpose, I think it's pretty cool. Hope you guys have enjoyed this. I've been Brian. Have a good one.